The Five Gifts and Five Responsibilities, written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick. One of the advantages of getting older is that you eventually collect enough mistakes to become useful. I should know because I have spent a good portion of my life collecting them, studying them, and occasionally repeating them just to make sure I understood the lesson the first time. For years, I believed gifts were simple. Someone gives, someone receives, everyone says thank you. Hallmark makes money, and the rest of us move on with our lives. Life, however, has a wicked sense of humor. Just when I think I have something figured out, life politely reminds me that I am not nearly as smart as I thought I was. One of the lessons it took me decades to learn is that gifts are rarely about the thing being exchanged. They are about the relationship created by the exchange. Researchers have spent decades studying reciprocity, trust, attachment, cooperation, and human relationships, and much of the research points toward the same conclusion. Human beings naturally feel compelled to reciprocate because gifts create relationships, and relationships create responsibilities. At first, I thought the research was about giving. Then I thought it was about receiving. And eventually I realized it was actually about relationships. That realization hit me harder than I expected. Giving a gift and receiving a gift create exactly the same outcome because both create responsibility. Most people spend their lives thinking about the gift. Very few people stop and think about the relationship that accompanies the gift or the responsibilities that accompany the relationship. The older I become, the more convinced I am that some of the greatest pain in friendships, business partnerships, families, and romantic relationships comes from this misunderstanding. One person believes they are building a relationship while the other believes they are simply enjoying a benefit. Neither person is necessarily wrong. They are simply participating in two different realities. The relationship begins long before either person realizes it exists. The greatest danger is not giving the wrong gift. The greatest danger is creating a relationship that one or both people never consciously agreed to create. A mentor offers wisdom and believes a mentorship is being built. The student receives wisdom and believes they simply received information. A friend offers loyalty and believes a friendship is deepening. The receiver enjoys the support and believes nothing has changed. A business partner offers effort and believes a partnership is being strengthened. The other partner sees the effort as helpful, but never realizes that responsibility is quietly accumulating. A man offers commitment and believes a future is being built. A woman enjoys the companionship and never realizes the relationship means something fundamentally different to the other person. Again, neither person is necessarily wrong. The danger is that neither person understands the relationship that is being created through the exchange. Over the years, I have come to believe that every healthy relationship contains 5 gifts and 5 corresponding responsibilities. More importantly, I have come to believe that both the giver and the receiver assume responsibility the moment the gift is exchanged. The gift is not the end of the transaction. The gift is the beginning of the relationship. 1. The gift of time, the responsibility of priority. The first gift we give another human being is time. Whether it is a friendship, a marriage, a business partnership, a mentorship, or a relationship with a child, every meaningful connection begins with an investment of time. Time is unique because it is the only asset we possess that can never be replenished. Money can be earned again, and opportunities can return, yet time only moves in one direction. The responsibility attached to time is priority. The moment someone repeatedly gives us their time, they are communicating that we occupy a meaningful place in their life. The danger appears when one person believes that time is building a relationship, while the other person sees the time as merely convenient. Many relationships begin to fracture when a meaningful investment is treated like a casual exchange. Research consistently shows that availability and responsiveness strengthen attachment and trust between people. Human beings want to know they matter, and priority is one of the clearest ways that message is communicated. The giver assumes responsibility by honestly examining their motives. The receiver assumes responsibility by recognizing the significance of what is being invested. 2. The gift of effort, the responsibility of reciprocity. The second gift is effort. Every meaningful relationship eventually encounters inconvenience, sacrifice, compromise, and work. A friendship requires effort. A marriage requires effort. A business partnership requires effort. The responsibility attached to effort is reciprocity. Reciprocity does not mean equality because life rarely distributes burdens equally. The real question is whether both people continue moving toward the relationship. Reciprocity is not measured by identical contributions, but by mutual investment. Research on social exchange theory demonstrates that human beings naturally monitor fairness within relationships. Relationships weaken when one person consistently feels they are investing more than they are receiving. The danger appears when one person believes they are making an investment, while the other believes they are simply accepting help. Resentment often begins the moment one person realizes they are carrying a burden that was meant to be shared. 3. The gift of vulnerability, the responsibility of trustworthiness. The third gift is vulnerability. Human beings have a deep desire to be seen, understood, accepted, and known. A friend shares a secret. A business partner shares a vision. A spouse shares a fear. A mentor shares wisdom earned through years of mistakes and hard lessons. The moment vulnerability is exchanged, something far more valuable than information changes hands. Trust enters the relationship. The responsibility attached to vulnerability is trustworthiness. The receiver assumes responsibility by protecting what has been shared, while the giver assumes responsibility by sharing consciously. Psychologists have observed that emotional disclosure creates feelings of closeness long before trust has actually been earned. Human beings often mistake emotional intensity for emotional safety. The danger appears when one person believes trust is being established while the other believes information is simply being exchanged. By the time the misunderstanding becomes visible, disappointment has often already arrived. 4. The gift of admiration, the responsibility of respect. The fourth gift is admiration. Every human being wants to feel valued, appreciated, and recognized. The responsibility attached to admiration is respect. Admiration without respect eventually becomes evaluation. I have seen this in friendships, business partnerships, and marriages. One person admires another while quietly questioning their judgment, second guessing their decisions, and evaluating their choices. Eventually, one person becomes the performer while the other becomes the evaluator. One seeks approval while the other decides whether approval should be granted. Research on psychological safety repeatedly demonstrates that people thrive when they feel respected rather than constantly judged. Respect creates the conditions under which trust, honesty, creativity, and intimacy can flourish. The danger appears when admiration creates a subtle power imbalance. One person feels appreciated while the other feels increasingly managed. 5. The gift of commitment, the responsibility of choice. The fifth gift is commitment. This may be the most misunderstood gift because many people associate commitment with obligation. In my experience, commitment has very little to do with obligation and everything to do with choice. Every day we choose where our attention, energy, and resources will be invested. The responsibility attached to commitment is choice. Healthy friendships survive because both people continue choosing the friendship, and healthy marriages survive because both people continue choosing the relationship. The danger appears when one person believes a future is being chosen while the other believes options remain open. Few misunderstandings create more disappointment than two people operating under different assumptions about commitment. Many people enjoy connection. Many people enjoy companionship, support, opportunity, affection, and attention. Far fewer people fully appreciate that receiving commitment creates a responsibility to choose as well. The giver chooses and the receiver chooses because commitment is only real when both people consciously participate. As I have grown older, I have become less interested in gifts and more interested in responsibilities. Gifts are easy to see while responsibilities often remain invisible until disappointment forces us to acknowledge them. The reciprocity discussion contained an observation that stayed with me long after I finished reading it. Hidden contracts often reveal themselves not during the act of giving, but through the expectations that emerge afterward. I believe many of those expectations emerged because neither person fully understood the relationship they were creating. One person thought they were giving a gift, while the other thought they were receiving one. Neither realized they were entering a relationship. Neither realized that both giving and receiving create responsibility. That is the lesson life eventually taught me. Before giving a meaningful gift, ask yourself whether you want the relationship and responsibility that accompanies it. Before receiving a meaningful gift, ask yourself the very same question. The answer may save you years of confusion, disappointment, and misunderstanding. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are two sides of the same exchange. Both create responsibility. Both create relationship. The wisest people I have met understand this simple truth. They are conscious not only of what they give and receive, but also of the relationships they create every time a meaningful gift changes hands.